My beloved child, as you sink deeper into this sanctuary of quietness, feel the heavy burden of your day begin to slip away from your shoulders. You have stepped out of the noise of the world and into the gentle warmth of my presence, where no performance is required and no threat can reach you. Hear my voice speaking directly to your spirit right now in this sacred stillness. I see how exhausted you are from carrying the full weight of your life on your own shoulders, from waking up with a mind full of anxiety and going to sleep with a heart heavy with unspoken fears. Today, your turning point has arrived. You do not need to figure out tomorrow in this quiet hour. You do not need to solve every problem that has weighed down your thoughts for months. Right now, in this very second, I am stepping between you and your troubles. The breath you are taking right now is infused with my grace, and the silence surrounding you is my loving sanctuary built just for your rest. Let every tense muscle loosen. Let your racing mind grow peaceful, and know beyond any shadow of a doubt that your prayers have not been lost in the sky. They have landed gently in my open hands, and I am already fashioning your deliverance while you rest. You have spent far too many nights lying awake in the dark, watching the hours tick by as your mind circles around money, resources, and the uncertain days ahead. I have seen you sitting at your table, looking over numbers and debts, wondering how everything will hold together, feeling a quiet knot of panic tighten in your chest. My child, listen to the whisper of your Creator tonight. Look at the sky that I have painted with infinite stars. Look at the earth that blooms effortlessly under my care. And remember who holds your life. Am I not the God who commands the sunrise? Am I not the one who feeds every bird in the air and clothes every flower of the field in breathtaking glory? You are worth far more to me than all of creation combined. Your financial anxieties have not caught me by surprise, nor are they beyond the reach of my sovereign hand. The scarcity you feel in the physical realm is only a temporary shadow. But my wellspring of provision is endless and completely unaffected by the economies of this earth. When you worry about tomorrow's bread, you are attempting to carry a weight that belongs exclusively to me. You were designed to live in trust, not in endless calculation. I see the quiet sacrifices you make, the hidden tears you shed when you wonder if you will have enough to protect those you love, and the silent shame that tries to tell you that you have failed. Cast those lies away from your mind tonight. Your worth is not measured by the balance in a bank account, nor is your security determined by earthly wealth. Earthly riches can fade in a moment, but my commitment to sustain you is eternal and unbreakable. I am the source of every good thing, and I have promised never to leave you destitute or abandoned. Hand over the ledger of your worries to me right now. Picture yourself placing every unpaid bill, every financial strain, every fear of lack, and every worry about your future directly into my palms. Once you place them in my hands, leave them there. Do not pick them back up when you awaken tomorrow. I know that your heart desires stability, and I am telling you that your true stability is found in my character. When you place me first, when you seek my presence above all else, everything you truly need will be provided in its proper season. I can open doors that no human hand can shut, and I can create streams of abundance in the driest deserts of your life. Do not let fear dictate your thoughts or rob you of the sleep you so desperately need tonight. The money problems that feel like an insurmountable mountain to you are like tiny grains of sand before my divine power. I am aligning unexpected help, opening quiet avenues of relief, and granting you the wisdom to navigate every financial turning point. Your role is not to panic, but to believe. Breathe deeply, unclench your hands, and allow my calming assurance to wash through your mind like a cool, refreshing stream. You are safe in my care, and your daily needs are fully understood by your Heavenly Father. For years, you have also carried another heavy weight, that was never meant for your soul to bear. You have exhausted your spirit trying to win the approval of people who were never designed to be the judges of your worth. Look back over your life and see how much energy you have poured into pleasing others, constantly adjusting your words, hiding your true feelings, and living in perpetual fear of judgment or rejection. You have worn yourself out trying to be everything to everyone, living under the fragile expectation of human praise that changes with the wind. One day people smile and offer approval, and the next day they offer cold silence or sharp criticism, leaving you feeling wounded, inadequate, and utterly drained. My beloved child, it is time to break that exhausting cycle once and for all. Why do you seek validation from fragile human beings who cannot even sustain their own lives without my breath? Why do you let the opinions of others dictate your peace, your joy, and your self-worth? People look only at the outward appearance, and their judgments are skewed by their own flaws, insecurities, and limited vision. But I look directly into your heart. I know every secret thought, every pure intention, every hidden wound, and every soft hope you carry inside. And knowing everything about you, down to the deepest corners of your spirit, I look at you with total, unconditional love. You do not have to perform for me. You do not have to wear a mask or pretend to be stronger than you are. You can come to me broken, weary, and completely unpolished, and you will find only open arms and boundless grace. Notice how peaceful your soul becomes when you stop caring so deeply about human opinion. The moments when you feel the most anxious are often the moments when you have elevated human judgment above my divine truth. When someone speaks harshly to you, when someone misjudges your character, or when friends and companions leave you feeling misunderstood, remember that their words hold no weight in eternity. They do not define who you are, nor can they alter the glorious purpose I have designed for your life. People may criticize your faith, call you weak for trusting in me, or mock your devotion to my word, but their misguided words will dissolve like morning mist in the brightness of my truth. Walk through life like a child of the King, unbothered by the chatter of the crowd. When you are firmly anchored in my love, the praise of others cannot make you proud, and the criticism of others cannot bring you low. You become steady, peaceful, and unbreakable, rooted in an identity that no human being can ever give or take away. Release the desire to defend yourself against those who misunderstand you. Stop rehearsing past arguments in your head, stop trying to prove your value to people who refuse to see it, and stop allowing old offenses to live free of charge in your mind. Every second you spend worrying about what someone thinks of you is a second stolen from the peace and joy I have prepared for you today. Let go of the need for human applause. Earthly approval is fleeting and shallow, but my approval is permanent and deep. I have already chosen you. I have named you as my own long before the foundation of the world was laid. You are my masterpiece, formed with intention, redeemed by divine sacrifice, and kept by everlasting power. Let this divine truth sink into the deepest layers of your soul tonight, replacing every memory of rejection with the steady, quiet warmth of my eternal acceptance. When the world around you feels chaotic and unpredictable, where do you turn for safety? You have tried putting your trust in human promises, in earthly strategies, and in your own cleverness, only to find that everything made by human hands eventually shakes and falls. Earthly foundations are built on shifting sand, but I am your unmovable rock. Picture a vast, majestic fortress resting high upon an ancient cliff of solid stone. The wind may howl against its walls, the rain may beat relentlessly against its towers, and the ocean waves may crash with fury far below, but the fortress stands entirely unmoved, completely untroubled by the raging elements outside. That unyielding fortress is my presence, and you are invited to step inside its safe, warm shelter whenever the storms of life begin to rise. When you abide in me, you are surrounded by an invisible shield that no enemy can pierce and no trial can destroy. I am your defense when life feels overwhelming, your quiet harbor when your emotions are tossed like waves, and your solid ground when everything else seems to be crumbling away. In times of sudden trouble or deep uncertainty, you do not need to run around in fear, seeking answers from empty wells. All you need to do is quiet your spirit, call upon my name, and rest upon my unyielding strength. I am unchanged yesterday, today, and forever. While circumstances shift and human feelings ebb and flow, my love for you remains as constant as the dawn. You can build your entire life on my promises without any fear that they will give way beneath you. Think of the times in your past when you thought you would not make it through the trial before you. Remember the nights when sorrow felt so thick that you doubted if morning would ever come, or the moments when a crisis hit your home and left you trembling with fear. Yet, look where you are right now. You are still standing. You survived those dark valleys, not by your own power alone, but because my invisible hand was holding you up, keeping your head above the water even when you did not realize I was there. I was the silent strength inside your heart that kept you going. I was the quiet comfort that dried your tears in the dark. And just as I carried you through those past storms, I will surely carry you through whatever you are facing today. My power has not diminished, my love has not cooled, and my attention has not drifted away from your life for a single second. To abide in the unmovable rock means learning to live in a state of continuous surrender. It means waking up each morning and deciding that your peace is non-negotiable because your life is held by the God of the universe. It means recognizing that every problem you face is smaller than the God who defends you. When thoughts of inadequacy or doubt try to whisper in your ear during the night, answer those whispers with the quiet declaration of my truth. Remind yourself that you are not alone, you are not defenseless, and you are not forgotten. You are guarded by the Almighty Creator, who neither slumbers nor sleeps. Take a deep, slow breath now, and let every remaining drop of tension melt away from your mind and body. You are safe here, in this holy quietness. The financial worries that tried to consume you today are now resting safely in my infinite hands, being worked out for your good according to my flawless timing. The exhausting need for human approval has been stripped away, leaving you free, lighter, and fully resting in my divine love. The shifting sand of earthly security has been replaced by the solid, unyielding bedrock of my eternal presence. If this quiet truth brings peace to your spirit, subscribe and like to abide in my presence. Rest in this assurance now, for as night deepens, a divine shield is being drawn around your entire household. Listen closely to my voice as the quietness of the night settles all around you, creating a sacred space where my eternal truth can wash over your weary heart. There are two paths that stretch out before every soul walking upon this earth, and tonight I am inviting you to see them clearly, without fear and without confusion. One path is the way of the world, a road crowded with noise, restless striving, and endless competition. It is a path that promises satisfaction through material accumulation, human praise, and constant control, yet those who walk it find themselves perpetually exhausted, drinking from cisterns that can never hold water. That path is lined with the shadows of anxiety, where every step requires intense effort and every temporary comfort eventually fades into emptiness. For too long, you have felt the heavy pull of that restless highway, feeling forced to match the frantic pace of a world that does not know how to rest. But tonight, I am laying before you another way. a quiet, luminous trail of life, grace, and eternal certainty that leads directly into my divine stillness. The path of my truth does not demand that you perform, prove your worth, or carry impossible burdens. It is a sacred journey guided by my gentle hand, where every step is cushioned by my grace and every turning point is illuminated by my everlasting light. When you choose to walk this higher way, you are not choosing a life free from earthly moments, but you are choosing a walking companionship that changes everything about how you experience your days. You walk with the Creator of the universe as your personal guide, your shadow from the heat, and your shelter in every rainstorm. On this divine path, you learn the holy art of releasing what you cannot control, allowing my wisdom to direct your decisions, my comfort to soothe your grief, and my power to fight the battles you were never equipped to fight on your own. Look upon this choice not with apprehension, but with a deep, overflowing joy, for my path is custom designed for your peace. The world tells you that you must be vigilant at all times, that if you lower your guard for a single moment, everything will fall apart. But my truth whispers a completely different reality into your soul tonight. My truth reminds you that I am the sovereign guardian of your existence, watching over your waking hours and your sleeping moments with an unslumbering love. To walk in my truth means to let go of the exhausting lie that you are alone in this vast universe. It means recognizing that every sunrise is a fresh declaration of my faithfulness, every breath you draw is a gift of my sustained life, and every promise recorded in my word is an unbreakable covenant signed in holy love for you. When you align your heart with my eternal truth, the deceptive shadows of the world lose their power to intimidate you. The endless flood of disturbing news, the voices of negativity that surround you, and the subtle pressures to conform to a culture of worry begin to fall away like autumn leaves. You begin to see through spiritual eyes, understanding that what is visible and temporary cannot compare to the invisible eternal glory I am preparing within you. You no longer need to scheme, manipulate, or burn with envy when others seem to prosper through shortcut ways. You know that true prosperity is not found in perishable treasures, but in a soul anchored securely in my presence, filled with a quiet confidence that no earthly crisis can ever steal away. Feel the deep, soothing comfort of making this divine choice right now in the stillness of your room. By sitting here in my presence, listening to my words, and breathing in my quiet peace, you are choosing the path of truth. You are stepping off the frantic treadmill of worldly worry and stepping into the sanctuary of my divine grace. Let your spirit settle into this reality. You do not have to fight the world on its own terms. You do not have to match the aggression, the cynicism, or the despair of those who do not know me. You are called to be a light, a soft reflection of my gentle majesty in a darkened world. And as you choose this luminous way tonight, know that you are stepping under a vast canopy of divine protection that extends far beyond your own heart, reaching out to cover everything and everyone you hold dear. As you rest your body and prepare your mind for deep restorative sleep, I want you to become aware of the unseen realities that surround your physical living space at this very moment. You are never as unprotected as your physical eyes might suggest. Around the perimeter of your home, across the threshold of your doors, and beside the windows of every room, I have stationed a vast host of holy angelic guardians. These divine messengers of my strength operate under my direct sovereign command, clothed in soft light and equipped with heavenly authority to maintain a perimeter of absolute peace around your dwelling place. They do not sleep, they do not grow tired, and they do not retreat from any force of darkness or disruption. Visualize this heavenly shield encircling your home right now like a ring of quiet golden fire. Every corner of your house, from the foundation beneath your feet to the roof above your head, is saturated with my holy presence and guarded by these mighty ministering spirits. Whatever chaotic energies, heavy atmospheres, or restless thoughts may be circulating in the world outside, they are completely stopped at the border of this divine boundary. They cannot cross the threshold of a home that is dedicated to my presence and covered by my grace. The atmospheric pressure of worry that tried to follow you into your house today is dissolving right now, turned into harmless dust by the gentle, invincible light of my angelic guard. Think of the physical structure where you rest tonight, not merely as wood, stone, or glass, but as a consecrated temple of my peace. My angels are standing at every entryway, keeping vigil over your sleep, ensuring that no sudden terror of the night, no intrusive fear, and no unseen influence can disturb the tranquility of your mind. They carry out my divine will with absolute perfection, creating an atmosphere so thick with heavenly rest that even the air in your room feels lighter, cooler, and easier to breathe. When you close your eyes, you are resting within an invisible fortress of safety that human technology could never build and human wealth could never purchase. If there have been conflicts, tensions, or hidden anxieties lingering within the walls of your home, feel my holy angels sweeping through every room right now, cleansing the atmosphere with the gentle fragrance of divine harmony. They are brushing away the subtle remnants of past arguments, clearing out the lingering heaviness of stress, and replacing every trace of domestic unrest with a profound, lingering calm. The spaces where you walk, cook, speak, and rest are being purified tonight, transformed into a safe haven where your body can recover its strength and your mind can fully unwind from the strain of life. You do not need to keep an anxious watch over your front door or lie awake listening for strange noises in the dark. You can surrender your vigil entirely to me and to the heavenly guardians I have assigned to your address. I know every detail of your house, every hidden corner, every quiet corridor, and I have placed a divine mark of protection upon your dwelling. No harm shall befall you, nor shall any disaster come near your tent, for I have commanded my angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways. Let this truth wrap around your thoughts like a warm, soft blanket. Let your breathing slow down to a deep, rhythmic pace, matching the perfect, unbroken peace that fills your room right now under the watchful eyes of heaven. My protective care does not stop at the walls of your bedroom, nor does it apply only to your individual soul. My divine shield expands outward to wrap around every member of your family, encompassing those who sleep in adjacent rooms and those who are miles away from you tonight. I see the deep, sacred concern you carry in your heart for your loved ones. I know the quiet prayers you utter when you think of your spouse, your children, your aged parents, and your dearest friends. You worry about their safety in an unpredictable world, you fear for their health, and you ache when you see them facing emotional or spiritual struggles that you cannot fix for them. Hand every single one of your family members over to my keeping in this very moment. Place their names, their faces, and their futures into my open, loving hands. Realize that my love for your family is vastly greater than your own human capacity to love them. Long before you cared for them, I knew them. I knit them together in their mother's wombs, I numbered every hair on their heads, and I ordained every day of their lives with intentional purpose. You cannot be everywhere at once to shield them from life's hazards, but I am everywhere present at all times. My eyes are constantly upon them, my hand is continually reaching out to guide them, and my angels are assigned to walk beside them wherever their paths may lead. When your family members travel along the roads, when they navigate their workplaces, when they face difficult choices, and when they lay down to sleep in their own homes, my unbroken shield of protection surrounds them completely. I am shielding them from subtle dangers they will never even know existed, turning aside accidents before they happen, and neutralizing harmful influences before they can take root in their minds. Even when they make mistakes or stumble along their journey, my grace is actively pursuing them, shielding them from the ultimate consequences of their errors and gently drawing their hearts back toward my love. If there are people in your life who have plotted against your family's peace, or if you have felt the sting of hidden betrayal, gossip, or envy from those you trusted, let your heart be at complete ease tonight. You do not need to seek revenge, nor do you need to spend your energy building defensive walls against the bad intentions of others. I am your divine advocate and your supreme defender. Every weapon formed against your household will ultimately lose its power, and every word spoken in malice will dissolve into insignificance before the weight of my truth. I have a way of quietly exposing falsehood, frustrating the plans of those who wish you harm, and turning what was intended for your detriment into a stepping stone for your ultimate blessing. Rest in the absolute security of knowing that your family line is sealed under my divine covenant. The legacy you are leaving is not one of vulnerability or chance, but one of spiritual authority and divine inheritance. Your consistent prayers for your household have built an invisible, unbreakable rampart around your family that generations to come will benefit from. When you pray, heaven responds. When you trust me with your loved ones, my protective power is released in ways that transcend human understanding. You can lay down the heavy burden of trying to be the ultimate protector of your family, stepping into the joyous role of trusting intercessor, while I assume the full responsibility of being their ultimate guardian. Feel the profound relief that comes from knowing that your entire world, your life, your home, your family, and your future is entirely secure within my sovereign hands. There is no threat too complex for my wisdom to solve, no adversary too strong for my power to neutralize, and no distance too far for my presence to reach. If this peaceful assurance touches your spirit, subscribe and like to stay close to my daily words. Breathe deeply of this holy serenity, feeling every muscle in your body let go of its lingering tension, every nerve settle into deep relaxation, and every thought grow quiet under the gentle sway of my love. Sleep peacefully knowing your home is guarded, while I prepare to wash away every shadow of past guilt, my child. Let the stillness of this late hour envelop your mind like a soft, weightless mantle of peace. As the night deepens, I want to take your hand and walk with you into the quietest chamber of your soul, a place where old shadows have lingered for far too long. I see the invisible weight you have been carrying from years gone by, the silent regrets that whisper to you in the dark, and the quiet shame that tries to convince you that your past stumbles have permanently flawed your life. You have spent countless hours replaying old decisions, wishing you could turn back the clock, holding yourself hostage to memories that were meant to fade into nothingness. But hear my voice speaking with authority and limitless affection over you tonight. The debt of your past is paid in full. The ledger of your missteps has been permanently erased by my boundlessly merciful hand. There is no lingering record of your mistakes held against you in heaven, and it is time for you to stop holding a record of them in your own heart. When I look at you, I do not see the sum of your stumbles, nor do I judge you by the times you lost your footing. I see my beloved child, washed clean, made whole, and clothed in a quiet dignity that no earthly shadow can ever tarnish. Imagine taking every single memory of failure, every word you wish you had never spoken, every choice that brought you heartache, and holding them in your hands like heavy black stones. Now picture standing beside a vast, lightless sea whose depth no human instrument could ever measure. Watch as I take those heavy stones from your weary hands and cast them into the absolute deep of that ocean. See them sink down through thousands of fathoms of pure grace, disappearing forever into an unreachable abyss where they can never be dredged up again. They are gone. They have no place in your present, and they hold zero power over your future. Many times you have asked me for forgiveness, and yet when you rise from your prayers, you carry the heavy burden right back with you into your day. You continue to punish yourself for things I have already forgotten, operating under the deceptive lie that feeling guilty somehow proves your humility or earns my favor. My child, self-condemnation is not holiness, and lingering shame is not what I desire for your soul. When you refuse to forgive yourself, you are holding on to a judgment that I have already overturned in the Supreme Court of Heaven. If the Almighty Creator of the universe has declared you innocent, cleansed, and restored, who is allowed to condemn you? Not the voices of the past, not the criticism of former companions, and certainly not the harsh thoughts of your own mind. Release the right to judge yourself tonight. Receive the full, complete absolution that my love freely offers you right now. Feel the profound lightness that comes when full divine absolution settles deep into your spirit. The heavy iron bands that have wrapped around your chest for years are snapping apart, falling away into the quiet darkness. You do not need to walk through life with your head bowed in silent regret, bracing yourself for divine punishment or waiting for the other shoe to drop. My posture toward you is not one of anger, disappointment, or strict judgment. My posture toward you is open arms, infinite tenderness, and an unwavering commitment to your ultimate restoration. Every mistake you have ever made was swallowed up in the infinite ocean of my mercy long before you even thought to ask for forgiveness. Step out of the courtroom of self-criticism and step into the warm, peaceful living room of your Heavenly Father, where you are welcomed, cherished, and completely made new. As this divine absolution settles over your consciousness, I invite you to make a sacred decision to stop watering the seeds of sorrow in your mind. Think of your mind as a quiet, sacred garden that I have given you to tend. For years, you have allowed bitter memories, old griefs, and painful betrayals to occupy the fertile soil of your thoughts. Every time you rehearse an old hurt, every time you re-examine a past heartbreak, and every time you cry tears of regret over what might have been, you are watering those bitter seeds, giving them permission to grow, blossom, and choke out the fresh joy I am trying to plant within you today. You cannot grow a beautiful future while constantly cultivating the garden of past sorrow. It is time to pull up those dead roots and let the soil of your mind be cleared. Stop allowing your thoughts to wander back into the valleys of old disappointment. The past is a closed door, a finished chapter, a land that no longer exists except in the fragile reflections of your memory. Why do you give so much energy to ghosts that have no power to give you life? When a painful memory rises in your mind during the night, do not entertain it. Do not argue with it, and do not let it drag you down into its familiar darkness. Simply turn your attention back to me. Replace the bitter echo of the past with the soothing music of my present promises. Speak my peace over your restless thoughts, and let the dead leaves of yesterday drop away so that the vibrant green shoots of new hope can spring forth. Consider how much time you have lost to sorrowful dwelling, how many peaceful evenings have been stolen by the heavy cloud of nostalgic grief. You have grieved for relationships that ended, opportunities that slipped away, and versions of your life that never came to pass. But I declare to you tonight that nothing truly meant for your spiritual good has ever been lost beyond recovery. I am the God who restores the years that the locusts have eaten, the God who turns ashes into beauty and mourning into the oil of gladness. What lies ahead of you is far greater, far richer, and far more beautiful than anything you have left behind. But to receive the new things I am placing in your hands, you must first let go of the broken pieces you are still clinging to from yesterday. Imagine taking a deep, slow breath right now and exhaling every remnant of old grief out into the night air. With that breath, release the people who hurt you, release the circumstances that disappointed you, and release the expectations that were never met. Forgive those who failed to love you as they should have, not because their actions were right, but because your soul deserves to be free from the poison of lingering resentment. Forgiveness is the golden key that unlocks the door of your own spiritual prison. When you release others from your debt, you are actually setting yourself free to walk into the vast open spaces of my unclouded joy. Let the soil of your heart be clean, fresh, and ready to nurture the miraculous seeds of life that I am sowing into your spirit in this very hour. With your past buried and the seeds of sorrow cast away, look up and see the divine light of your holy dreams being revived in the soft brightness of my presence. Long ago, when you were younger, I placed sacred dreams, pure desires, and vibrant visions within the deep places of your heart. You had a sense of wonder, an expectation of goodness, and a quiet confidence that your life held a glorious purpose. But over time, as life dealt its hard blows and unexpected challenges arose, those dreams were gradually buried under layers of cynicism, weariness, and self-doubt. You began to tell yourself that it was too late, that you were too old, too tired, or too damaged to ever see those beautiful visions become reality. I say to you tonight, brush off the dust from those forgotten dreams, for they are not dead. They were merely sleeping, waiting for this appointed moment when my breath would ignite them once again. I do not place holy desires inside your spirit only to abandon them to time. The creative purpose I designed for your life before you drew your first breath is still fully active, entirely intact, and moving toward its grand fulfillment. Age cannot wither the plans of God. Circumstance cannot cancel my decrees, and human limitations cannot stop the momentum of my grace. The best season of your life is not buried in the past. It is unfolding right now in the sacred quietness of your walking intimacy with me. Feel my divine breath blowing softly across the cold embers of your heart, kindling a warm, steady flame of holy expectation. I am renewing your youth like the eagles, restoring your spiritual vigor, and expanding your vision far beyond the narrow walls of your present circumstances. You are going to dream again, laugh again, and step into new horizons with a brave, joyful spirit that surprises even yourself. The talents you thought were wasted, the passion you thought was extinguished, and the capacity for deep joy that you thought was lost forever are all coming back to life under the gentle warmth of my restorative love. Walk forward from this night as a completely renewed creation, untethered from the failures of yesterday and fully aligned with the glorious possibilities of tomorrow. You carry no guilt, you hold no bitterness, and you fear no future, because you are wholly held by the everlasting God. If you feel my peace restoring your soul, subscribe and like to stay connected to my promises. Every step you take from this moment onward is cushioned by my grace and illuminated by my truth. Your soul is light, your path is clear, and your heart is filled with an unshakable, tranquil confidence. Your past is buried forever, and as night lingers, a powerful rhythm of daily intercession begins to restore your family. Allow the deep, quiet stillness of this night to gently wrap around your mind, creating a peaceful haven where your spirit can rest completely in my presence. You have carried many heavy thoughts throughout the day, navigating the demands of the world, attending to duties, and managing the endless stream of noise that seeks to capture your attention. But now, in this sacred hour, the busy rhythm of the world slows down, giving way to a divine calm. Hear my voice softly speaking to the innermost depths of your heart. I am calling you into a deeper, sweeter rhythm of fellowship with me, a sacred cycle of communion that transforms the way you move through your days and anchor your nights. You do not need to approach me with rigid formulas, formal speeches, or heavy religious pressure. I am not looking for performance. I am inviting you into a loving, continuous dialogue between a tender father and a cherished child. Think of prayer not as a difficult duty you must check off a list, but as a sanctuary of pure rest, a place where you can step out of the chaotic rush of time and breathe the clean air of eternity. I desire to share every moment of your life with you, establishing a gentle rhythm that begins with the first morning light and gently closes as the evening shadows fall. In the quiet morning hours, before the world demands your energy, before the cares of the day try to crowd into your mind, take a few soft moments to simply sit with me in silence. You do not need to hurry into your day with an anxious heart. Before you pick up the burdens of the world, open your heart to receive my morning grace. As the sun rises and the soft light of dawn touches your home, let your first conscious thought be a quiet acknowledgement of my presence. Acknowledge that the breath moving gently through your lungs is my gift to you, a fresh deposit of life and purpose for the new day. In those golden early moments, whisper a soft surrender into my care. Place your plans, your schedule, your interactions, and your worries into my hands before the day even begins. Speak to me as your closest companion, saying softly that you need my wisdom, that you choose my peace, and that you trust my sovereign guidance through every unknown door you will walk through. When you anchor your morning in my presence, you set a spiritual atmosphere that shields your soul from sudden frustration and keeps your mind clear and steady amid the storms of life. And when the day draws to a close, as the twilight deepens into night, establish the sacred counterweight of evening prayer. As you prepare your body for rest, let your mind perform a gentle surrender. Come before me not with the heaviness of what was left undone, but with a grateful heart that recognizes my keeping power throughout the day. Kneel or lie down in spirit, casting off every lingering frustration, every harsh word spoken by others, every mistake you made, and every subtle fear that tried to take root in your thoughts. Hand the entire day back to me, knowing that what was good was sustained by my grace, and what was flawed is covered by my mercy. I want you to see with spiritual clarity what happens in the invisible realm when you pray. When you bow your heart in genuine communion with me, whether in a soft morning whisper or a quiet evening tear, all of heaven takes notice. Your prayers do not fall onto hard ground, nor do they dissolve into empty space. They rise instantly into my divine presence like sweet, aromatic incense, filling the halls of eternity with a sacred fragrance that delights my heart. I store every sincere prayer you have ever uttered in golden vessels of remembrance. Not a single word spoken in faith is ever lost, forgotten, or ignored. Imagine heaven pausing to listen to the soft, honest beat of your heart. When you call upon my name, divine ministers of strength are dispatched to work on your behalf in ways your physical eyes cannot yet perceive. Your quiet morning prayer creates a lingering aura of wisdom that guides your decisions throughout the day, turning aside foolish traps and aligning your steps with heavenly opportunity. Your quiet evening prayer releases a soothing blanket of divine peace over your sleeping mind, driving away restless nightmares, calming your nervous system, and allowing your physical body to experience deep cellular restoration. This sacred rhythm of morning and evening communion is your lifeblood, keeping your spirit constantly connected to the infinite source of all life, love, and light. As you rest in this continuous rhythm of my presence, let your heart be comforted regarding the painful disappointments you have suffered at the hands of human beings. I know the deep wounds you carry from places where you offered genuine love, loyalty, and trust, only to receive coldness, misunderstanding, or outright abandonment in return. You have looked to earthly companions, family members, friends, or leaders for validation and emotional security, hoping they would see your value and stand by you in times of need. Yet, time and again, you have experienced the sharp sting of human limitation, watching promises crumble and discovering that human love can often be fragile, conditional, and fleeting. My child, hear my comforting truth tonight. Human beings are fragile, finite vessels. They are often blinded by their own unhealed pain, distracted by their own fears, and limited by their own spiritual maturity. When people disappoint you, let you down, or walk away from you, it is rarely a reflection of your true worth. They simply cannot give you what they do not possess within themselves. Earthly relationships, as precious as they can be, were never designed to be the primary anchor of your soul's security. When you expect flawed human beings to give you ultimate peace, absolute acceptance, and perfect loyalty, you are placing a weight upon them that only your Creator was ever meant to bear. Lift your eyes above the horizon of human failure and fix your gaze upon my unchanging love. My love for you is fundamentally different from any love you have ever encountered on this earth. Earthly love often depends on your performance, your mood, your appearance, or your ability to meet another person's expectations. But my love for you is absolute, uncaused, and completely infinite. It does not rise when you succeed, nor does it fall when you stumble. I loved you before you drew your first breath. I love you in this quiet night, and I will love you with an everlasting devotion through all the ages to come. There is no flaw in your past that can diminish my affection for you, and no mistake in your future that can cause me to turn my face away. When you fully grasp the height, depth, and certainty of my divine love, a profound transformation takes place in your emotional world. The painful letdowns of your past lose their power to wound or embitter you. Instead of carrying anger or resentment toward those who failed you, you begin to look upon them with a quiet, sorrowful compassion. You realize that they hurt you out of their own poverty of spirit, operating from their own brokenness. You can freely forgive them and release them from the debt you felt they owed you. Because your soul is continuously being filled to overflowing by my inexhaustible grace, you no longer need to beg for crumbs of human affection when you are sitting at the infinite table of your Heavenly Father's boundless love. Let this divine security settle deep into the wounded places of your heart tonight. If you have been feeling lonely, misunderstood, or cast aside by people who should have cherished you, wrap yourself in the warm, unbreakable embrace of my presence. I am the friend who sticks closer than a brother, the loyal companion who will never desert you in the dark, and the tender father who holds your heart with absolute gentleness. With me, you are always seen, always understood, always valued, and always safe. Human promises may fail, and earthly systems may collapse, but my love stands as an unmovable monument of grace that will shield and sustain you through every trial of your life. Now, from this place of absolute emotional safety and divine alignment, I invite you to step into the sacred role of intercession for those you love. Look beyond your own life and turn your spiritual vision toward your family members, your friends, and those precious souls whose names are etched deeply upon your heart. I know you carry a quiet, persistent pain when you watch your loved ones struggle through life. You see them wrestling with hidden burdens, fighting silent battles against anxiety, depression, addiction, confusion, or spiritual numbness. You watch them make choices that bring them sorrow, and you feel helpless because your words of advice often seem to fall on deaf ears or spark defensive resistance. Tonight, I want to release you from the exhausting effort of trying to change your loved ones through human persuasion, argument, or force. You cannot transform a human heart through human pressure, but you can move heaven and earth on their behalf through the gentle, quiet power of sacred intercession. When you bring your loved ones before me, in quiet, loving prayer, you are bypassing their human defenses and inviting my Holy Spirit to work directly upon the secret places of their spirit. You become a spiritual bridge through which my divine light, healing, and restoration can flow directly into their lives. I invite you right now to close your physical eyes and enter into a peaceful, meditative visualization in my presence. Picture the faces of those family members you are most concerned about tonight. See them standing before you in your mind's eye. Look past their outward behavior, past their harsh words, past their cold exterior, or past their anxious expressions, and see the fragile, weary soul living beneath the surface. Recognize that behind their anger or distance lies a quiet, unspoken fear. Behind their stubbornness lies a deep, hidden wound that needs my gentle, healing touch. As you hold their image in your mind, picture a radiant, soft cloud of my heavenly light descending from above, completely enveloping each one of your loved ones. See this divine light soaking through their thoughts, melting away the cold ice of bitterness, untangling the knots of confusion in their minds, and washing away the heavy gray fog of despair that has clouded their vision. Feel my deep, compassionate love flowing through your heart and extending toward them like a river of pure, warm grace. As you hold them up to me in faith, speak quiet words of blessing over their lives in your spirit. Speak peace over their troubled minds, speak healing over their bodies, and speak spiritual awakening over their weary souls. Realize the incredible authority I have given you as a praying intercessor for your household. Your quiet, consistent prayers create a protective spiritual canopy over your entire family line. When you intercede, you are placing a holy shield between your loved ones and the destructive influences of the world. You are asking me to deploy my ministering angels to surround them wherever they go, to block harmful paths, to quiet toxic voices, and to place godly influences directly in their way. Even when your family members do not know you are praying for them, even when they claim they do not believe, your intercession is actively paving the way for their hidden breakthroughs. I am working on their hearts in secret, in ways you cannot yet see with your physical eyes. In the quiet hours of the night while they sleep, my spirit is whispering truth into their subconscious minds, undoing the subtle deceptions that have bound them. I am dismantling the emotional strongholds that have kept them trapped in destructive cycles, softening their hearts, and preparing them for a powerful divine encounter that will turn their lives around. Do not be discouraged by what you see on the surface today. Do not let current appearances deceive you into thinking your prayers are ineffective. Spiritual transformation often happens silently beneath the soil long before the green shoot of breakthrough breaks through the surface into the light. Trust my perfect timing and my relentless pursuing love for your family. I love your children, your spouse, your siblings, and your parents far more deeply than you could ever fathom. I have a custom divine plan for each of their lives, and I am entirely capable of bringing them into their destiny. Your role is simply to keep the channel of intercession open, to continue surrounding them with my soft light and love, and to rest in the unwavering confidence that I am faithful to complete the good work I have begun in your home. Let go of the frantic worry. Lay down the urge to manage their lives and hand the ultimate responsibility for their salvation and healing entirely over to me. As you linger here in this peaceful sanctuary of prayer, feel the profound calm that settles over your entire being. The sacred rhythm of morning and evening communion is established in your heart, keeping you continuously anchored in my life, giving presence. The painful letdowns of human failure have been completely absorbed and healed by the infinite ocean of my divine love. and your loved ones are now held securely within the luminous cloud of my protective grace, sustained by your faithful intercession and guarded by my sovereign power. Your spirit is quiet, your heart is light, and your mind is completely at rest. You are fully aligned with the eternal heart of God, resting safely within an impenetrable fortress of peace that no earthly trouble can ever invade. Every burden you carried into this night has been lifted, every worry has been surrendered, and every prayer has been received into the golden bowls of heaven, setting in motion divine answers that will unfold in perfect beauty and timing. As your prayers rise peacefully into my presence, rest your spirit, for my hands are reaching toward your children. Rest your mind completely in the quiet sanctuary of my presence as the deep stillness of the night gathers softly around you. There is a sacred place in my heart that holds every single tear you have ever shed for your children, every silent prayer you have whispered over their beds, and every quiet ache you have felt when watching them walk through life's uncertain valleys. I see the tender, protective care you carry within your soul as a parent. I know the quiet hours when sleep escapes you because your thoughts are consumed with worry for your sons and daughters, wondering if they will be safe, if they will make wise choices, or if they will lose their way in a complex and noisy world. Hear my voice speaking directly to your spirit right now. With gentle, absolute authority, you can lay down the heavy, exhausting weight of parental anxiety. Your children are not helpless drifting vessels lost in a vast ocean. They are securely held in my sovereign hands, encircled by an unbroken ring of divine protection that no earthly storm can ever shatter. Look beyond the physical limitations of your own sight and see the true reality of your children's lives. Long before you held them in your arms, before you watched their first steps or guided their early years, I held them in my eternal thoughts. I chose their personality traits, gifted them with unique talents, woven their fragile spirits together with divine intention, and ordained the high purpose of their earthly lives. You were chosen by me as their sacred guardian to love them, nurture them, and reflect my tender care into their early world. But you were never meant to be the absolute master of their destiny. Nor were you asked to bear the impossible burden of controlling their every choice or protecting them from every trial. They ultimately belong to me, their heavenly Father, whose love for them stretches far beyond the boundaries of human capacity. When your children walk out into the world each day, stepping beyond the threshold of your home and away from your physical sight, my eyes remain fixed upon them with unceasing vigilance. I am walking beside them down every road, sitting with them in every classroom and workplace, and standing guard over their thoughts in every hour of decision. My ministering angels surround them like an invisible wall of fire, turning aside hidden dangers, silencing deceptive influences, and placing quiet boundaries around their steps. Even when they travel into environments that cause you deep concern, remember that my presence is not restricted by distance or human circumstances. There is no dark valley they can enter where my light cannot pierce through, and no distant shore they can run to where my hand cannot gently reach down to shield them. Cast aside the quiet fear that your past mistakes or perceived shortcomings as a parent have permanently damaged your children's future. You have often looked back over their growing years with a heavy heart, wishing you had displayed more patience, spoken softer words, or possessed greater wisdom during challenging moments. You have wondered if your own flaws have placed a dark cloud over their spiritual development. I command you tonight to release those heavy regrets into the deep ocean of my grace. My divine plan for your children is vast enough to absorb your human imperfections and transform them into instruments of profound spiritual growth. I do not require you to have been a perfect parent. I simply ask you to be a trusting intercessor who surrenders their children into my infinite care. My grace fills every void left by your human limitations, repairing what was broken, healing old misunderstandings, and weaving a tapestry of redemptive beauty out of your family's history. Feel the profound, cooling relief that washes through your mind as you release control over your children's lives into my hands. You do not need to lie awake mentally reviewing their choices, rehearsing arguments, or trying to anticipate every potential hardship they might face tomorrow. Surrender the illusion that your anxiety can protect them. Your worry cannot alter a single outcome, but your quiet, steady trust in my sovereign goodness releases a wave of heavenly peace into your home that shifts the spiritual atmosphere around your entire family. Trust that I am working in their lives at this very moment, guiding their subconscious thoughts during their sleep, planting seeds of wisdom in their hearts, and preparing their paths for divine encounters that will align them with my good and perfect will. As you hold your children in my sovereign care, open your heart to receive the depth of my unconditional grace regarding their missteps and stumbles. It is natural for young spirits to test boundaries, to question the paths laid before them, and to make foolish mistakes as they learn to navigate the complexities of life. I see the deep hurt and quiet embarrassment you feel when your children make choices that contradict the values you worked so hard to instill in them. You feel as though their stumbles are a reflection of your failure, or you worry that a single wrong turn will ruin their entire future and lead them into permanent ruin. Listen carefully to my truth tonight. A stumbling block is not a dead end. It is often the very soil where my transforming grace takes its deepest root. Do not view your children's mistakes through the narrow, fearful lens of human judgment. In my sovereign design, even missteps and temporary failures are allowed as necessary schoolrooms of the soul, teaching your children the bitterness of self-will and the absolute sweetness of my mercy. I am the supreme master of redemption, capable of taking the very mistakes your children make and using them to refine their character, deepen their empathy, and awaken their spiritual hunger. What the world views as a tragic derailment, I often use as a divine detour that leads straight into a deep, personal discovery of my love. Your role as a parent during their seasons of struggle is not to crush them with condemnation, cold distance, or endless lectures born of your own fear. Your true calling is to be a living, breathing reflection of my unconditional grace. When your children stumble, let them find in you a safe harbor, a steady refuge where love remains unchanged and acceptance is never withdrawn. Offer them wise counsel when appropriate, set healthy boundaries with quiet firmness, but let the primary atmosphere surrounding your interactions be one of deep, unwavering tenderness. When they experience the world's harsh judgment, let your arms be the place where they encounter my gentle restoration. When they feel broken by the consequences of their own choices, let your voice be the one that whispers hope and reminds them of their true identity in my eyes. Embrace them with the same boundless grace that I continuously extend toward you. Think of how many times you have made foolish mistakes, strayed from my guidance, or doubted my word. And consider how softly, patiently, and lovingly I have brought you back into my arms. I have never rejected you for your weakness, nor have I revoked my promises because of your stumbles. Treat your children with that same infinite patience. Do not allow bitterness, frustration, or fear to poison your relationship with them. Even when they seem distant, rebellious, or cold, continue to sow seeds of gentle affection, quiet kindness, and unwavering support into their lives. Your unconditional love, rooted in my divine grace, is an invisible magnetic force that will eventually draw their wandering hearts back to safety and truth. Be comforted in knowing that their current mistakes do not define their ultimate destination. The story of their life is still being written by my divine hand, and the current chapter of struggle is merely a brief transition toward a glorious victory. Do not judge the final harvest while the seed is still buried in the dark, wrestling through the soil. The temporary detours they are taking will ultimately serve to make their eventual return to truth even more powerful and resilient. Stand firm in your faith, holding back the waves of panic, and speak words of life, promise, and divine destiny over your children every single day, trusting that my word will never return empty, but will accomplish every purpose for which I sent it into their lives. Resting upon this foundation of unconditional grace, let your soul anchor itself in my unbroken promise of generational restoration. I am not merely the God of the present moment, I am the God of generations, extending my loving kindness to 1,000 generations of those who place their trust in me. The divine covenant I have made with you is not confined to your individual lifespan. It flows over the brim of your life like an abundant river, soaking into the lives of your children, your grandchildren, and the generations yet unborn. The spiritual seeds of faith, prayer, and devotion you are planting in the quiet soil of your life today will bear rich golden fruit long after your earthly journey is complete. Look upon your family line with spiritual clarity tonight. Whatever generational cycles of addiction, mental torment, poverty, broken relationships, or spiritual darkness have plagued your ancestors, stop right now with you. I have placed you as a spiritual watershed in your family history. Through your faith, through your prayers, and through your surrender to my word, an ancient chain of generational struggle is being shattered into fine dust. In its place, I am establishing a brand new legacy of spiritual wholeness, divine abundance, wisdom, and enduring peace that will mark your family for generations to come. Do not be discouraged if you do not see the full manifestation of this generational restoration overnight. True, lasting restoration works quietly, like leaven hidden deep within dough, transforming the entire structure from the inside out. I am rebuilding what was torn down in previous years, repairing the breached walls of your family's security, and recovering every inch of ground that was lost to fear, sickness, or spiritual confusion. What was stolen from your family in past seasons, whether it was emotional harmony, financial stability, physical health, or spiritual unity, I am restoring to you in double measure. The quiet pain of past heartaches will be completely swallowed up in the profound joy of seeing your entire household united in peace, purpose, and divine alignment. Visualize the glorious fulfillment of this generational promise right now in the peaceful stillness of your soul. See your home filled with a quiet, lingering light where laughter replaces tension, where open communication replaces defensive silence, and where my presence is recognized and honored by every member of your family. Picture your sons and daughters walking with heads held high, confident in their worth, free from the crippling anxieties of this world, and walking boldly in the unique divine destinies I have crafted for them. See your family line as a flourishing, fruitful tree planted beside living waters, its leaves never fading, its branches offering shelter to many, and its roots anchored deep within the unshakable bedrock of my eternal love. This is not a foolish fantasy or an empty dream born of human wishful thinking. This is my solemn covenant promise to you, sealed with my absolute authority and guaranteed by my unchanging nature. Heaven and earth may pass away, but my promises to you regarding your home and your children will never fail. Hold fast to this divine vision during moments when physical circumstances seem to contradict it. When doubts whisper to your mind during the quiet night, declare my generational promises out loud over your house. Remind yourself that the God who promised to guard your children is entirely faithful, infinitely powerful, and actively working out their complete salvation and restoration at this very moment. Feel the profound, absolute rest that settles over your spirit as these truths saturate every level of your consciousness. The heavy, suffocating grip of parental anxiety has completely released its hold upon your heart, replaced by a calm, steady confidence in my sovereign care. The fear of your children's mistakes has been dissolved in the warm, healing waters of my unconditional grace, and the uncertainty regarding your family's future has given way to the radiant, unshakable certainty of my generational restoration promise. Your mind is peaceful, your soul is quiet, your heart is light, and your body is fully relaxed, sinking into the deep restorative rest prepared for you tonight. You are surrounded by my presence, held in my arms, and guarded by my mighty angels. Every child you love is safe in my hands, every lost year is being recovered, and every detail of your family's future is firmly secured in my eternal love. Your tears for your children are treasured, and now a quiet strength is preparing your heart to stand firm against every storm. Settle deeper into the soft stillness of this quiet hour, as my divine presence enfolds your spirit like a warm mantle of peace. In the dark calm of the night, when the frantic demands of the world are finally hushed, your heart can begin to understand the deeper mysteries of your journey. I know that as you look back over the terrain of your life, you have often wondered about the heavy trials, the unexpected seasons of heat and pressure, and the painful moments that seem to test the very limits of your endurance. You have asked in the quiet solitude of your prayers why the road felt so steep, why certain difficulties lingered so long, and why you were called to pass through seasons of intense testing. Hear my voice speaking to the quietest places of your soul tonight with absolute clarity and endless tenderness. The trials you have faced were never random accidents of fate, nor were they signs that I had abandoned you to the harsh elements of life. Every season of pressure was a carefully monitored, deeply purposeful process of spiritual refinement, designed by my sovereign love to extract the pure gold of your true character. Picture a master artisan sitting beside a quiet hearth, carefully watching a vessel of raw, precious gold resting within the heart of a refining fire. The master goldsmith does not place the gold into the fire to consume it, to harm it, or to reduce it to ashes. He places it in the heat with exquisite intention, knowing that only within the warmth of that controlled environment can the heavy impurities, the rough stone, and the worthless dross separate from the precious metal beneath. He sits beside the furnace, never turning his eyes away for a single second, meticulously regulating the heat, monitoring the liquid gold with absolute devotion until every cloudiness melts away. And how does the master know when the process is complete? He knows the gold is pure when he can lean over the crucible and see his own face perfectly reflected upon its brilliant, unblemished surface. My beloved child, you are that precious gold, and I am your heavenly master goldsmith. Throughout your life, whenever you found yourself in a furnace of adversity, whether it was a season of sudden loss, a period of deep loneliness, a long stretch of physical weakness, or an agonizing time of financial pressure, I was sitting right beside you. I never left your side for a fraction of a second. I held my hand upon the temperature of your trial, ensuring that the heat was never meant to destroy you, but only to burn away the heavy impurities of fear, self-reliance, doubt, and spiritual confusion that were keeping you from stepping into your highest calling. The fire was not an instrument of my anger. It was an expression of my deep, relentless love, removing everything within you that was fragile, temporary, and unworthy of the eternal child I created you to be. Look upon your past hardships through this illuminated lens of truth tonight. The seasons that felt the most painful were often the precise seasons where your faith was being forged into an unbreakable anchor. In the quiet furnace of suffering, you learned how to pray with a depth you had never known before. when every earthly support was stripped away. You discovered that my grace was the one foundation that could never be shaken. The pride that once made you feel isolated was melted down into a soft, compassionate humility. The anxious need to control every detail of your future was burned away, leaving behind a pure, quiet trust in my sovereign providence. The surface coat of shallow happiness was replaced by a deep, immovable reservoir of divine joy that remains steady regardless of changing circumstances. You are emerging from those seasons of testing not weaker, but infinitely stronger, purified and radiant with a spiritual beauty that only trial can produce. The world looks at hardship as an unmitigated tragedy, but in the realm of my kingdom, trial is the holy workshop where champions of faith are crafted. Every tear you shed in the dark served to soften the soil of your heart, making you capable of feeling a richer, more profound empathy for the hurting world around you. Every time you were forced to stand firm in the face of daunting odds, your spiritual roots grew deeper into the unshakable bedrock of my truth. You are no longer easily shaken by the rumors of trouble, because you have been tested in the fires of life and found that my grace is entirely sufficient to keep you standing. Feel a deep, relaxing sense of peace wash through your body as you realize that nothing in your life has been wasted. The trials that tried to convince you of your worthlessness were actually proving your immense value. A craftsman does not spend time, care, and heat refining common clay. He only invests that level of intense devotion into precious metal. The very fact that you have passed through refining fires is divine evidence of how deeply I cherish you and how magnificent a purpose I have prepared for your future. The dross of past anxiety is gone. The impurities of doubt have been cleared away. And what remains in your heart tonight is the pure, shining gold of a faith that has been tried, proven, and found victorious. Rest your weary mind in this assurance, knowing that the master goldsmith is completely satisfied with the reflection of his love taking shape in your soul. As you rest in this quiet realization of your spiritual refinement, allow your heart to experience total relief regarding the opposition, resistance, and human conflict that has at times tried to darken your path. In past seasons, you have felt threatened by those who spoke against you, intimidated by circumstances that seem to array themselves like an advancing army against your peace, and worn down by the subtle friction of living in a world that often opposes divine truth. You have spent precious energy worrying about how to defend yourself, how to overcome the hidden traps laid by those who envied you, or how to navigate complex situations that felt heavy with hostility. Tonight, I am calling you to step out of that exhausting defensive posture and embrace a much higher, far more peaceful perspective. You do not need to view your life as a constant, desperate war against opposing forces. In the supreme light of my presence, every opposing shadow loses its substance and dissolves into nothingness. Think of how the morning sun rises over the horizon after a long, dark night. The sun does not engage in a violent, noisy struggle with the dark clouds or the heavy shadows of the valley. It does not argue, fight, or exert frantic effort. The sun simply shines. It releases its warm, magnificent light, and by the sheer majesty of its presence, the shadows are quietly, effortlessly driven away, vanishing as if they had never existed at all. I am the infinite Sun of righteousness, and my presence in your life is an overwhelming light that no earthly shadow can withstand. Those who have set themselves against your peace, those who have plotted in secret to bring you down, and the intimidating obstacles that once blocked your view are nothing more than thin, fleeting shadows before my divine glory. When I step forward to defend you, I do not need to create loud, dramatic chaos. I simply release my quiet light, and the forces that seemed so formidable suddenly lose their grip, melt away like wax before a flame, and dissolve into harmless dust. You will look around for the problems that terrified you yesterday, and you will find that they have quietly vanished, leaving behind only the wide, open spaces of my unclouded peace. De-escalate the sense of conflict in your mind completely tonight. You are not a helpless victim trapped in a hostile world, constantly bracing for the next blow. You are a beloved child of the Sovereign King, seated safely within a high tower of divine protection where no weapon formed against you can ever prosper. The noise of human opposition, the harsh judgments of envious companions, and the threatening circumstances that tried to steal your rest are entirely powerless against the divine decree of blessing I have pronounced over your life. When people speak falsely about you, my truth quietly vindicates your name. When circumstances try to shut doors in your face, my hand effortlessly opens far greater avenues of opportunity that no human being can ever close. Consider how small and insignificant every earthly threat appears when viewed from the height of my throne. The difficulties that feel like towering, impassable mountains to your human sight are like tiny specks of dust to the God who measured the oceans in the palm of his hand and marked off the heavens with the span of his fingers. Why should you lie awake, sweating in fear over problems that I can resolve with a single whisper of my spirit? Why should you carry the stress of conflict when I have already declared that your vindication is entirely my responsibility? Release the need to fight your own battles. Drop the mental weapons of anger, defensiveness, and strategic worry, and step into the safe, quiet sanctuary of my divine defense. Visualize every opposing voice, every lingering conflict, and every daunting challenge in your life being surrounded by a soft, glowing cloud of my peaceful light right now. Watch as the sharp edges of those problems soften, fade, and completely dissolve in the quiet radiance of my presence. The people who were hostile toward you find their hearts mysteriously softened or their influence quietly removed from your path. The financial or situational walls that seem to trap you crumble effortlessly into smooth, safe roads. You do not need to lift a single finger, shout a single word, or spend a single moment in panic. Your sole responsibility is to remain quiet, to keep your heart anchored in my love, and to watch the silent, effortless victory I am working out on your behalf while you sleep. With the furnace of refinement behind you and every opposing shadow dissolving into light, fix your peaceful gaze upon the sacred nature of divine timing, learning the profound power of waiting upon me. One of the greatest sources of unrest in your life has been the painful tension between the promises I have spoken to your heart and the physical manifestation of those promises in your daily experience. You have lived through long seasons where it felt as though nothing was happening, where your fervent prayers seemed to hang unanswered in the quiet air, and where the fulfillment of your deepest dreams felt endlessly delayed. In those quiet intervals of waiting, fear has often whispered to your mind, telling you that I have forgotten you, that my promises have failed, or that you missed your moment of blessing. Hear my soothing wisdom tonight, my precious child. In the economy of heaven, waiting is never wasted time. Waiting is not a cold, empty void between prayer and answer. It is a sacred, highly active season of quiet germination, where the seeds of your future abundance are taking deep root beneath the soil of your life. Think of a farmer who plants a precious seed in the rich, dark earth at the beginning of spring. After the seed is placed in the ground, the field looks completely empty for a long time. To an untrained eye, it appears as though nothing is occurring, as if the farmer's labor was in vain. Yet, beneath the surface, out of sight in the warm darkness of the soil, a miraculous transformation is taking place. The seed is breaking open, sending deep, strong roots down into the earth to secure an unbreakable foundation, drawing up life, giving nourishment, preparing to push a vibrant, fruitful shoot through the surface at the precise moment when the atmosphere is ready. If the farmer grew impatient and dug up the seed every few days to check on its progress, he would destroy the very life he was hoping to see. He must exercise a quiet, confident patience, trusting the silent, invisible laws of creation working beneath the dark soil. In the exact same way, every promise I have made to your heart, every prayer you have offered in faith, and every dream I have planted within your spirit is a sacred seed buried in the fertile ground of my sovereign timing. When you do not see immediate physical results, it does not mean that nothing is happening. I am working powerfully in the dark places of your circumstances, establishing root systems of spiritual maturity, preparing the surrounding environment, and arranging human hearts so that when your breakthrough arrives, it will be complete, lasting, and far greater than anything you could have engineered on your own. Patience is not a passive, heavy endurance of frustration. It is the highest expression of your trust in my character. To wait patiently upon me means to rest in the unshakable confidence that I am never early, never late, but always perfectly on time. I know the exact moment when your heart is ready to receive the blessing without being spoiled by it. I know the precise hour when the circumstances are fully aligned to give you maximum joy and give my name the highest glory. If I granted your desires prematurely, before the root system was fully formed in your soul, the weight of the blessing might cause you to stumble. But when you allow patience to complete its perfect work within you, you become like a mature, deeply rooted tree, capable of carrying immense weight, enduring any storm, and producing rich, golden fruit season after season. Refrain from measuring the truth of my promises by the ticking of an earthly clock or the pages of a calendar. Time is a human creation, but I operate in the vast, boundless realm of eternity, where 1,000 years are like a single day, and a single day can accomplish the work of 1,000 years. I can accelerate your circumstances in a single moment, turning years of silent waiting into a sudden, breathtaking harvest of divine favor. The doors that remain stubbornly shut for decades can swing wide open in a fraction of a second when my appointed hour arrives. The health, the resources, the restored relationships, and the spiritual clarity you have longed for are all ripening beneath the surface of your life under the steady warmth of my love. Let the sacred act of waiting become a sweet, peaceful rest for your spirit tonight. Stop striving. Stop trying to force open doors that are not yet ready to yield. And stop torturing your mind with questions about how and when my promises will come to pass. Release the schedule of your life entirely into my hands. Decide tonight that you are content to walk step by step with me, enjoying the beauty of my present companionable peace, knowing with absolute certainty that your future is fully secured. The seed of your future abundance is safe in my dark, fertile soil, nurtured by my grace, watered by your quiet faith, and destined to burst forth into a magnificent harvest of joy that will overflow the banks of your life. Feel how completely quiet your inner world has become as these eternal truths settle into every cell of your being. The refining fire has completed its work, leaving your faith as pure, brilliant gold that reflects my unconditional love. Every opposing shadow, every threat, and every conflict has softly dissolved into the quiet light of my divine defense, leaving you safely enclosed within an impenetrable fortress of peace. And the tension of waiting has been replaced by a tranquil, expectant patience that rests comfortably in the flawless precision of my divine timing. There is no trace of fear left in your thoughts, no lingering anxiety in your chest, and no tension in your body. Your breathing is slow, deep, and rhythmic, perfectly attuned to the peaceful movement of my spirit surrounding your bed. You are held, you are guarded, you are deeply cherished, and you are prepared for the magnificent season that lies just ahead. Hold fast through this quiet night, for I am fashioning an extraordinary purpose that no earthly noise can hinder. Sink into the absolute tranquility of this hour, my beloved child, as the quiet mantle of the night wraps around your mind and body. Hear the soft, eternal cadence of my voice speaking directly to your spirit, calling you away from the fragile illusions of the world and into the unshakable reality of your true identity. You were not brought into this world by chance, nor were you created to live a shallow, routine existence dictated by the shifting tides of human culture. Long before the stars were flung into the expanse of the sky, long before the foundations of the earth were laid in place, I held your soul in my thoughts. I knew your name, I fashioned your spirit, and I designed an extraordinary destiny for your life that belongs to you and you alone. You carry a noble calling, a sacred purpose carved into the very core of your being by my sovereign hand. Step out of the heavy fog of self-doubt and look upon yourself as I see you in this sacred quietness, a cherished creation of infinite worth, clothed in royal dignity and anchored in eternal truth. For far too long, you have permitted the world to define your value through a narrow and flawed lens. You have listened to false narratives that tried to convince you that you are ordinary, that your life is insignificant, or that your value is determined by human accomplishments and earthly status. Throw off those heavy lies tonight. Your true identity is not built upon the fragile foundation of human praise, nor is it subject to the shifting standards of earthly success. You are a child of the living God, born of divine intent, sustained by infinite grace, and destined for an extraordinary life that reflects my beauty in a darkened world. The world may encourage mediocrity, urging you to blend into the crowd and settle for a life of quiet survival, but I have called you to stand out as a beacon of truth. I have placed a divine strength within your heart, a resilient spirit capable of rising above every trial and stepping into the full stature of your noble heritage. To walk in your extraordinary destiny requires that you build every aspect of your life upon the unshakable foundation of my truth. Truth is not an abstract concept or a set of rigid human rules. Truth is the living reality of my character and my eternal promises to you. When you align your mind with my truth, you step off the shifting sand of human opinion and onto the solid, everlasting rock of my divine reality. You begin to understand that you are completely loved, fully forgiven, continuously protected, and richly endowed with spiritual gifts intended to bless the world around you. This truth frees you from the crippling fear of inadequacy. You no longer need to look around with anxiety, wondering if you measure up to the standards of others, because your value has already been settled forever by your Creator. You are enough, not because of your own perfection, but because my infinite power and grace rest upon your life. Feel the profound dignity of this divine calling settling into your spirit tonight. You are not meant to live a life governed by fear, hesitation, or regret. I have designed you to walk with your head held high, with a calm confidence that flows from knowing who you are and whose you are. The divine purpose I have placed within your soul is not dependent on human permission, nor can it be thwarted by worldly obstacles. When I set a path before you, my hand clears the way. My wisdom guides your steps, and my presence accompanies you through every shadow. Accept the nobility of your spiritual calling in this quiet moment. Release the lingering urge to belittle yourself. Stop minimizing the precious gifts I have entrusted to your care, and step boldly into the magnificent story I am writing through your life. As you awaken to the majesty of your unique destiny, you will naturally find yourself rising far above the frantic noise and fleeting temptations of a confused world. The world around you is consumed by an endless search for fulfillment, running breathlessly from one shallow promise to another, seeking joy in things that can never truly satisfy the human heart. It offers fleeting illusions of happiness, temporary thrills, and superficial distractions designed to keep your mind bound to the surface of existence. But these earthly promises are like vapor, appearing for a brief moment and then dissolving into emptiness, leaving the soul more exhausted and thirsty than before. I am calling you to transcend that shallow, restless cycle once and for all, stepping into a life of deep, eternal substance that no earthly trend can ever offer. Consider how much energy is spent by souls who chase after the fleeting shadows of this world. They seek validation in the fleeting applause of the crowd, they search for security in perishable wealth, and they look for peace in environments that are perpetually in turmoil. But you, my beloved child, have been granted spiritual vision to see through these golden mirages. You know that true peace cannot be manufactured by earthly systems, and genuine fulfillment cannot be purchased with perishable treasures. When you choose to step away from the loud, demanding distractions of the world, you are not missing out on life, you are stepping into the fullness of real life. You are trading the noisy, superficial illusions of the moment for the timeless, quiet riches of my eternal kingdom. Look upon the temptations of the world not with bitter anger or anxious fear, but with a quiet, elevated wisdom that sees them for what they truly are. They are merely desperate attempts by a hurting world to fill an infinite void that can only be filled by my divine presence. When you are tempted to return to old patterns of thinking, when the world tries to draw you back into its web of anxiety, competition, and endless striving, simply remember who you are. Remember that you have tasted the sweet living water of my grace, and nothing on this earth can ever satisfy your soul again. You are called to a higher atmosphere, a quiet mountain of communion where the noise of the world fades into insignificance, replaced by the profound, tranquil melody of my love. In this elevated place of spiritual quietness, you become a powerful beacon of light for others who are still wandering in the dark, confused labyrinths of worldly illusion. The world does not need more conformity, it desperately craves the authentic light of a soul that is anchored in divine peace. When those around you are panicked by uncertain news, your quiet calm will be a sanctuary for their anxious hearts. When others are driven by selfishness and bitter division, your gentle compassion and unwavering kindness will point them toward a better way. You do not need to shout, argue, or force your beliefs upon anyone. Your very presence, infused with my quiet peace and steady love, will be a silent, radiant testimony that speaks louder than 1,000 words, drawing weary souls out of the shadows and toward the living warmth of my truth. To sustain this elevated life of peace and divine distinction, open your heart now to cultivate the sacred channel of heavenly gratitude. Gratitude is not merely a polite gesture or a fleeting emotion, it is a profound spiritual posture that instantly aligns your heart with the vast, boundless rivers of my grace. When you practice genuine thankfulness, you shift the entire focus of your consciousness from what is missing to the overwhelming abundance of what has already been given. Gratitude opens the hidden windows of heaven over your soul, allowing my divine peace to flow into every corner of your mind like a deep, cool, untroubled river. It clears away the toxic dust of complaint, melts the cold ice of envy, and restores a vibrant, radiant joy to your daily walk with me. Look around your life in this quiet hour and notice the countless, subtle gifts of my grace that surround you at every moment. Thank me for the quiet breath flowing effortlessly through your lungs right now, a continuous sign of my sustained life within you. Thank me for the safe, warm shelter protecting you from the elements of the night. Thank me for the invisible host of angels standing guard over your home, for the simple food that nourishes your body, and for the beauty of creation that speaks of my infinite care. When you begin to notice these soft, daily miracles, you realize that you are surrounded by an embarrassment of spiritual and physical wealth. carried in the gentle arms of a loving Father who anticipates your every need. Gratitude possesses the miraculous ability to transform the simplest moments into holy encounters with my presence. When you approach your days with a thankful heart, even your routine duties become acts of joyful worship, and your quiet hours become sweet sanctuaries of divine communion. Thankfulness alters your perception of life's challenges as well. Instead of looking at trials with fear or resentment, a grateful heart recognizes that every difficulty is a disguised opportunity for my power to be displayed. Every delay is a season of quiet preparation, and every loss is paving the way for a greater restoration. When gratitude becomes your native language, you become completely immune to the dark whispers of discontentment and despair. Practice this holy discipline of gratitude right now in the stillness of your soul. Speak quiet words of thankfulness into the peaceful air of your room. Thank me for saving you from the dark places of your past, for breaking the heavy chains of guilt and shame, and for burying your missteps in the deepest ocean of my mercy. Thank me for the divine shield surrounding your family line, for the quiet work I am performing in the hearts of your children, and for the miraculous breakthroughs that are already maturing beneath the surface of your life. As you breathe out these soft expressions of gratitude, feel how remarkably light your heart becomes, how every remaining thread of tension leaves your body, and how a deep, radiant warmth fills your entire chest. You are stepping into a realm of pure, unclouded serenity tonight. Your identity is securely anchored in the absolute truth of your noble, extraordinary destiny. The noisy, deceptive illusions of the world have lost all their allure, leaving your mind clean, clear, and resting in the high quietness of my presence. And your heart is overflowing with a profound, vibrant gratitude that unlocks the deepest reserves of my heavenly peace. There is no longer any room in your soul for anxiety, fear, or worldly striving. You are wholly set apart, uniquely loved, continuously sustained, and fully prepared to walk in the glorious light of my divine will for all the days of your life. Feel the utter perfection of this restful state as your body relaxes completely into the bed beneath you. Your breathing is slow, steady, and deep, reflecting the absolute harmony that reigns within your spirit. Your mind is untroubled, floating peacefully upon the calm, vast ocean of my sovereign love. You have left behind the shallow, restless waters of worldly conformity, and you are now sailing upon the deep, clear depths of my eternal truth. Every promise I have spoken over your life is coming into divine alignment, every spiritual defense is in place, and every need of your soul is fully met in the infinite riches of my grace. You are anchored in my quiet truth, and now the moment of your long-awaited miracle begins to unfold. Enter fully into this final sanctuary of rest, my beloved child, as the deep silence of the night settled softly around you like an eternal embrace. The waiting is drawing to a close, and the long season of wrestling through the dark is yielding to the quiet dawn of my divine intervention. Hear my voice speaking over your weary spirit tonight with absolute authority and tender finality. The miracle you have prayed for in secret, the divine breakthrough you have wept over in the quiet hours, is no longer a distant promise on a far horizon. It has arrived. It is unfolding right now in the subtle, unseen realms of your life, taking root in your circumstances and preparing to manifest with breathtaking clarity. Open your heart to receive this holy gift of my grace, for the time of divine turning has officially begun in your soul. Look back over the long road you have traveled to reach this sacred moment. You have endured stormy seas, navigated heavy valleys of uncertainty, and carried burdens that threatened to crush your fragile strength. Yet through every shadow, every trial, and every silent teardown, my invisible hand was holding you fast, guiding your steps and shielding your spirit from total destruction. Nothing you went through was in vain. Every tear was collected in my golden vessels, every prayer was recorded in the books of eternity, and every moment of patient waiting was refining your soul to hold the immense weight of blessing I am releasing into your life tonight. You have been faithful through the dark, and now you are stepping into the glorious daylight of my divine fulfillment. The miracle unfolding in your life is not a small temporary relief, it is a profound systemic shift orchestrated by the sovereign creator of the universe. The closed doors that caused you such deep sorrow are swinging wide open under the gentle touch of my power. The dry, barren deserts of your resources are being transformed into living streams of quiet abundance. The broken relationships that left painful scars upon your heart are being swept into a river of divine reconciliation and peace. I am moving unexpected pieces across the chessboard of your life, aligning human hearts, shifting worldly circumstances, and clearing every obstacle from your path so that my holy purpose for your destiny can be fully realized without hindrance or delay. Receive this divine transformation with a quiet, joyful expectancy in this very hour. You do not need to figure out how this miracle will come to pass, nor do you need to spend a single second worrying about the mechanics of my sovereign power. The same voice that commanded light to shine out of darkness is speaking light into your situation tonight. The same hand that set the stars in their courses is carefully arranging every detail of your future. Your only responsibility is to rest, to believe, and to surrender your life completely into my loving care. Feel the heavy tension of self-reliance dissolve from your mind as you accept the glorious truth that your deliverance is entirely my work, guaranteed by my unshakable promise and delivered by my infinite love. As this divine miracle unfolds around your life, feel my holy restorative power moving deeply through every level of your physical, mental, and spiritual existence. I am the God who heals you, the supreme physician of body, mind, and soul, and tonight I am breathing brand new life into every tired cell of your being. I see the physical exhaustion you have carried from months of stress, the quiet aches in your body, and the deep weariness that has weighed down your limbs. Lay your physical form down in total surrender right now, and let my gentle, warm, healing light flow through you from the top of your head to the soles of your feet. Feel my restorative presence soaking into your muscles, loosening every knot of tension, easing every painful nerve, and renewing your strength like the eagle's. Where there has been weakness, I am infusing divine energy. Where there has been sickness or physical decline, I am releasing a fresh wave of cellular alignment and wholeness. Your body is a sacred vessel designed to reflect my glory, and I am restoring your health so that you can walk into your future with vibrant vigor and joyful endurance. Sleep deeply tonight, knowing that my healing power is actively working within your physical frame while you rest, repairing what was worn down and strengthening your body for the glorious days ahead. Allow this same divine healing to sweep through the delicate landscape of your mind. You have lived with a weary, overactive mind for far too long, constantly churning through thoughts, rehearsing scenarios, and fighting quiet battles against anxiety, depression, and mental exhaustion. Tonight, I am placing my sovereign hand upon your thoughts and declaring peace over your inner world. The heavy, dark fog of mental confusion is lifting away, replaced by a crystal-clear atmosphere of quiet wisdom and untroubled composure. I am healing the painful memories that used to trigger panic in your chest, smoothing out the jagged edges of past trauma, and shielding your mind with a protective armor of divine quietness. Your soul is being completely restored to its original unblemished beauty under the tender care of my Holy Spirit. The quiet wounds left by betrayal, abandonment, and deep disappointment are being sealed with the soft ointment of my unconditional love. You no longer carry the heavy weight of lingering grief or the bitter poison of resentment. Your spiritual sight is being cleansed, allowing you to see yourself, your life, and your future through the luminous lens of my truth. You are whole. You are sound of mind. You are emotionally steady, and your spirit is overflowing with an unshakable, tranquil confidence that no earthly storm can ever disturb again. With your body restored, your mind calmed, and your miracle unfolding, step into the holy responsibility of sharing the quiet testimony of my restoration with a hurting world. The blessings, the healings, and the miraculous breakthroughs I am bringing into your life are not meant to be hoarded in secret. They are designed to be a radiant beacon of hope for others who are still wandering in the dark, heavy valleys you have just left behind. When the time is right, as you walk through your daily life, allow your quiet peace, your gentle joy, and your story of divine deliverance to be a source of encouragement for weary, losing hearts. You do not need to preach loud sermons or argue complex doctrines to be my witness. Your very life, transformed by my grace and resting in my peace, will be an undeniable testimony of my reality and love. When people look upon your quiet strength, when they see how you remain untroubled in the midst of worldly chaos, they will be drawn to the invisible source of your stability. You will be able to reach out to the brokenhearted with genuine, experiential empathy, whispering words of hope into their dark hours, assuring them from your own life that the God who saved, restored, and guarded you is entirely faithful to do the same for them. Your story of restoration will become a living stream of divine grace that waters the dry spirits of many. As we conclude this sacred journey through the quiet hours of the night, enter into the final, eternal reality of my unbroken covenant of everlasting love. Look upon our relationship not as a fragile, temporary arrangement that depends on your daily perfection, but as an eternal, unbreakable bond sealed in the highest heavens before time began. I have entered into a covenant of peace with your soul, a divine promise that stands firmer than the ancient mountains and outlasts the very foundations of the earth. The mountains may depart and the hills may be removed, but my loving kindness shall never depart from you, nor shall my covenant of peace be shaken, says the Lord who has deep mercy on you. This divine covenant means that you are permanently secured in my love for all eternity. There is no force in the universe, neither death nor life, neither angels nor principalities, neither things present nor things to come, nor height, nor depth, nor any other created thing that will ever be able to separate you from my love. You belong to me, and I belong to you, bound together in a divine union that survives every earthly trial, transcends every human failure, and extends beyond the boundary of time itself. You never have to fear being abandoned, forgotten, or cast aside. My presence is your permanent home. My power is your eternal shield, and my love is your everlasting inheritance. Rest your entire existence in the absolute, unshakable certainty of this divine covenant tonight. Every open loop from your past has been closed by my mercy. Every fear regarding your future has been answered by my sovereignty. And every longing of your heart is fully satisfied in my presence. The financial burdens that worried you are taken care of. The human judgments that hurt you are stripped of their power. The family members you wept over are safe in my hands, and the trials that tested you have yielded the pure, brilliant gold of untested faith. You are completely secure, perfectly loved, and fully prepared to enter into the highest rest of your soul. Feel a profound, weightless serenity settled over your entire body right now. Your head rests comfortably upon your pillow. Your breathing is rhythmic, slow, and deeply quiet, and your heart is beating in peaceful harmony with the eternal rhythm of my love. The shadows of the night have become a soft, holy canopy under which your spirit can drift into deep, restorative, uninterrupted sleep. You are surrounded by a vast host of holy angels, cradled in the infinite arms of your Heavenly Father and saturated with a divine peace that surpasses all human understanding. Close your eyes with absolute trust, letting go of the physical world, letting go of all thoughts, and floating peacefully into the deep, quiet ocean of my unending rest. There is nothing left to solve, nothing left to fear, and nothing left to carry. Everything is finished, everything is made well, and everything is held in perfect order by my almighty hand. Rest now in perfect safety, fully surrounded by my love. For tomorrow and all your days are forever held in my hands.